Hey, what's up guys? I want to talk about traps as far as how to make your deck kind of faster. And I don't mean traps being faster, meaning that the spell speed is higher, like the counter trap cards like Solemn Warning and Solemn Judgment. These are faster, but there's another term that a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players like myself use as far as a card being faster, meaning it's live much more often than another card, or you can essentially activate it when your opponent is going for some combo play that you know that they're going to go for, and you can essentially interrupt their combo before you use something like Mirror Force or Dimensional Prison. You could have activated Torrential Tribute or Bottomless Trap Hole, and it would be much more effective for you. So let me go through a few examples and explanations of what I mean by cards that are like faster than other cards, even though they're the same spell speed. Now, we'll just use this example because it's a really simple one. So first off, I'm going to explain to you where a card like Torrential Tribute or Bottomless Trap Hole is going to be faster than Mirror Force or Dimensional Prison. So player goes and summons Rescue Rabbit, and then they go, oh, I would like to Rescue Rabbit for Sabersaurus and Sabersaurus. So when those Sabersauruses are summoned, you can activate Torrential Tribute. Now you can activate Torrential Tribute as soon as Rescue Rabbit is summoned, but maybe Macro's out and it doesn't really matter. But if Macro Cosmos isn't out, you might want to Torrential Tribute immediately, just because that way it puts Rescue Rabbit in the graveyard rather than having it banished, because when it's banished they can Leviair and get it back. So keep that in mind as well. But yeah, let's say he goes for Rescue Rabbit goes for Sabersaurus. Now you can Torrential Tribute and Bottomless both those Sabersauruses, and they're gone. You don't have to worry about anything. You essentially used a 1-for-1. Now if you had a Mirror Force or Dimensional Prison down, which are slower cards than Bottomless or Torrential, they go Summon Rabbit, go for Sabersaurus. You cannot activate Mirror Force or Dimensional Prison because nothing has happened at the moment yet where you can actually activate these, because you have to act these when they declare their attack. You can't just activate them. Whereas Torrential Tribute you activate when the monster is summoned, and same thing with Bottomless. Keep in mind, Bottomless does hit multiple monsters because it has the parentheses S. As long as the monsters are special summoned at the same time, like Sabersauruses, both of these are summoned at the same time. So you can, when you Bottomless, it Bottomlesses both. But yeah, let's say that they successfully get off their rabbit play, and you have a Mirror Force or a Dimensional Prison. Now they're probably going to make Logit if you have back row, just to be more safe. So they make Logit, and they'll go for their attack, and they'll still have their 2 attachments. You activate Mirror Force or Dimensional Prison, you've essentially lost 1 card, and they only use 1 card. So they're essentially going plus with Logit. That's another term that us Yu-Gi-Oh players like to call being a plus, meaning that you get an advantage of 1 card, because they used 1 card, they've essentially hit your 1 card, and they still have 1 card that's a 2400 attacker on board. So that's one example where 1 card is essentially faster than another card. Another card would be something like Compulse. Now, obviously, Solemn Judgment and Solemn Warning, these are pretty self-explanatory that they're faster. You can activate them, and your opponent can't respond to these cards unless they're using a spell speed 3 or, well, I was going to say spell speed 3 or higher, but spell speed 3 is actually the highest. You cannot activate Logit's effect to, Solemn Warning because it's too fast. Where, like, let's say, for example, one player makes something like Stardust Dragon. You can't activate a card like Torrential Tribute or Bottomless Trap Hole because Stardust would just say, nope, negate that, I'll go away and I'll come back during the end phase. But if you activate something like Solemn Judgment or Solemn Warning, Stardust wouldn't even touch the field. Therefore, his effect can't even activate because he never touches the field. And also because spell speed 3, you can't stop him. Like Divine Wrath, Stardust Dragon, if you Divine Wrath a Stardust Dragon's effect, then yeah, Stardust can't negate Divine Wrath because it is too fast. It's too fast, too furious. But another example where Torrential Tribute or Compulse. Well, you can use Compulse because we haven't talked about Compulse yet, and this is a fantastic card. Now let's say the player goes, I will summon Debris Dragon. Now you have a Compulse face down. They go summon Debris Dragon, activate effect to get Dandelion, and then maybe they have a Spore Engrave. You can just be like, oh, that's cool. You can have back your Dandelion. I'll let you have that Debris Dragon in face-up attack position with nothing else to really do with it, because now they can't synchro. And maybe they're trying to go for Quasar, and this is a key card that they need. They need to synchro up for like a level 7 to like Level Eater or something like that. If you Compulse, you can disrupt their play. Whereas if you have like a face down, let's say Mirror Force or a D-Prison, these cards are a little bit slower. Like Torrential is pretty good too, but if you have Bottomless, maybe that throughout that play they'll somehow make a Stardust Dragon, and then therefore you can't really like use Bottomless because Stardust will negate that. But if you have like a Mirror Force or a D-Prison, these cards will be too slow because by the time they're going to attack you, they might have out shooting Quasar Dragon, or they might make Scrap Dragon and pop one of the back rows, and then you're out. Whereas Torrential Tribute or Bottomless could have hit a Scrap Dragon, so they're essentially faster. Compulse also can just be like, that's cool, send Stardust Dragon back to the extra deck, and it doesn't destroy Stardust, therefore Stardust cannot activate its effect. So these are just examples of faster cards, because a lot of you guys will send me some decks, and I'll send you guys to like basic deck building in Yu-Gi-Oh! Video I uploaded, and I'll kind of explain in this video why certain cards are faster than others. Like some of you guys will play something like Sakuretsu Armor. You know, that card was meta a long time ago, and now Dimensional Prison has kind of take that spot, because banishing cards, you know, not allowing your opponent to have a graveyard is always something that's good. And also Soul Warning is just like something faster. And Sakuretsu Armor is just a little bit too slow, whereas something like Bottomless would be much faster, because if they make something like Stardust Dragon, your Sakuretsu Armor won't be as good as something like Compulse or Torrential, because, you know, before they make the Stardust. Stardust is just an easy example. There are tons of cards that can negate destruction, or, I mean, Log is a great example, because it's a card that sees a lot of play, and it's just one of those cards where it's like, oh, you activate Mirror Force, Deprison, of course they're going to negate with Logia unless they have like a Lance, or they have other back row to stop it. But yeah, this is just an explanation of what I mean when I tell you guys that something like Sakuretsu Armor, it might be just too slow when you're running maybe a deck that wants to be more competitive. Cards like Torrential Tribute kind of triumph over other cards. Like, I would, depending on your deck too, if you're playing something like Six Samurais, you might not want to use Torrential Tribute because you want to keep Xian alive, and Deprison just might be a more favorable card for you. Or maybe Mirror Force will be more favorable for you to protect, you know, Xian, because Torrential Tribute just won't work out. But generally, I will say I would much rather run Torrential Tribute over a card like Mirror Force, because it's much faster. As long as I'm not playing a deck that relies on, you know, keeping like Xian like alive. Whereas other decks, like if I was playing something like Inzectors, I don't really care about my Inzector, like Hornet or Dragonfly that dies. That can come back. I can Call of the Haunted that thing. No problem for me. And I would much rather Torrential Tribute than Deprison and potentially save my card. And, you know, you make like something like Quasar and I'd just lose. But if I had Torrential, I could have survived. I hope this makes sense to you guys as far as making your deck faster. Essentially by running trap cards that are essentially faster than other trap cards. Now keep in mind, depending on your matchups, again, for example, like Dark World, I probably wouldn't want Mirror Force. I probably would, or I mean, Torrential's okay. You can Torrential summon as soon as they summon their like monster that they're going to bounce for Grapha. You can just Torrential right there. But I would much rather banish the Grapha and send it off to the Shadow Realm, never to return, only to find out later that they just drew multiple Graphas and they're going to do it anyways. But yeah, I hope this helps you guys out as far as building decks to make your decks a little bit faster as far as the traps, because a lot of times I'll say that your Mirror Force is too slow to run Torrential Tribute, and they'll be like, oh, they're the same spell speed. Yes, that's true. They're the same trap speed, essentially. But essentially, one can be activated faster. And I hope this helps you guys out, because if you're looking to get better at Yu-Gi-Oh!, definitely consider what I mentioned in this video, whereas some cards are essentially just faster than others. Like, a no-brainer would be Solemn Warning is much faster than a card like Torrential Tribute. But you can only run 2 Solemn Warnings, whereas Torrential Tribute, you can also run 2. But anyways, have a great day. I hope this helps you guys out as far as deck building and understanding thought process as far as when cards are faster than other cards. But anyways, thanks for watching. Asian Eyes signing out.